Okay, so welcome to this lecture on short channel effects. This is the part one. Um, Here we are going to discuss some of the basic introduction to the various short channel effects. So the first one of the influence of the short channel effects is basically I'll just be writing them here. Number one is the 2D potential profile. Potential profile. Okay, so what does it mean? That notice when we were dealing with the original version of long channel MOSFETs as we know it, okay, this is a typical MOSFET structure, long channel MOSFET structure. Then what we know is that the depletion region is going to be like this and spread out in this. So we are essentially going to have the depletion region and the various potential profiles. hmm, they will all be aligned like that. They'll be like parallel lines following each other. Now, each of this are essentially the different values of phi. So this is, let us say, phi 1, this is phi 2, green is phi 3, and finally the pink one is phi 4. So what do we understand is in all these cases, this is how the phi decreases. Phi is the potential. Okay. Now, this is the situation for a long channel device. So what we understand is in a long channel device, there is a huge portion inside the channel where we can assume that the potentials are roughly independent of the source and the drain region. So let us say from here until, let us say, until here. Okay. You will notice that the potentials are roughly flat. So the potentials are essentially decreasing as we are going further and further away from the SiO to Si interface, and essentially the potential profiles are flat. Got it? So in long channel devices, we can simply ignore these regions. So this is region 1, this is region 2. So in long channel or simply large devices, we ignore regions 1 and 2. Just because the majority portion of the channel is essentially flat. Okay. So this situation is called, this results in the 1D potential profile approximation. 1D potential profile approximation. Approximation. Okay. Now, this is essentially the same as the typical MOS capacitor formulation modeling. Okay, or the 2T MOS model. Okay. However, when the same thing becomes for small devices, scale devices, now the scale device will look something like this. Then the same curves will essentially become somewhat like that. Got it? So this is for the scale device. This is for the large device. Here, by default, devices mean MOSFETs only. So what do we understand is that we cannot use the same approximation of 1D potential profile in the case of scale devices. So in the scale devices, the Poisson equation becomes 2D. This is plus del 2 phi del y square. This won't be plus, this will be minus. And this is coming from, remember, the case of divergence F is equal to rho v by epsilon si. So from there, we used to get del x plus epsilon si, and F is equal to minus grad phi. That is Fx is equal to how much? Minus del phi del x. Fy is equal to minus del phi del y. So we have just plugged in. So this is your Poisson equation. So in case of the large channel devices, we used the charge sheet approximation. That means the charges are accumulated exactly like the sheet on the channel. So that means we were ignoring the del phi del x, or the d phi x dx term. So this term is ignored in larger devices. Understood? Hmm? So if we are dealing with the short channel devices, this is the equation which we have to deal with. Okay. So how to solve this two-dimensional Poisson equation is kind of beyond the scope of this course, actually, beyond the syllabus. So, but I'll see if it is possible. If we have time, I'll essentially show it for a simple FDSOI MOSFET, okay, double gate MOSFET or thin film transistor, whichever. So I shall show how to do it, but if time permits. Now, the second phenomenon that is the result of short channel effect. So remember, like what, just to keep things in perspective, please remember that in our previous couple of lectures, we have already discussed the advantages of scaling theory. Okay, we have seen that there are tremendous amount of advantages when we are dealing with constant field scaling, right? Now, in this lecture and the couple of lectures later, we are essentially going to deal about what are the problems of scaling. And after finishing off with the problems of scaling, we will try to figure out what are the solutions to it. Okay. So number two is very, very famous. Everybody knows this. It's called drain induced barrier lowering. Can anyone tell me about this? What do you, because this is a very famous term. So many of you might have learned in your BTech. DIBL. Can anybody explain this? Hello?
Uh,
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah,
Sir,
yeah.
when high drain voltage is applied, VTH reduces.
VT, when high drain bias is applied, it has got to do with scaling now. VT reduces, that is correct. But not because of higher drain bias. Can anybody say?
Sir, when source and drain are very close to each other,
Yeah.
part of uh, N plus region got depleted by VDS. Uh, so
No. Can anybody else try? See,
So because
huh.
of higher depletion at the drain region because of supply depletion.
Actually, this is a kind of a concept which is very interesting. This concept is sort of derived from BJT. Okay, we will see how it is done. Notice that in most of the MOSFET operation, we have always been looking in the direction of Y, that is the vertical direction. Okay, so how did we look into the MOSFET operation? So this was Y, and this was your X. Yes or no? Usually the unit is nanometers. So when we are dealing with the MOS operation, we were always concerned about the inversion and all that, right? So whenever we were dealing with the inversion phenomenon, हम लोग क्या देखते थे? Like this is the variation which we always noticed. Correct. So let me just put it in dotted lines. Okay. So what was what was it? This was like EF. We all this was phi F. Okay. This was EF. This was EI. This was EC. This was EV. Perfect, right? And here was again from here to there will be the surface potential Q phi S. Typically, this is what we have seen. Now, what was the y-axis? Energy, usual unit is electron volts. What is the x-axis here?
Y
Somebody,
in nanometers.
y in nanometers. Very good. But this is the typical structure which this is a typical band diagram which we were concerned about in devices, especially MOSFETs actually. So what we used to say is that if phi s is greater than 2 phi f, it was surface inversion. Excellent. We all know that theory. But what is important is this viewpoint was relevant for the MOS capacitor operation, and this was finally used in case of MOSFETs as well, 3T-MOS and 4T-MOS as well. But this was in the along the y direction. Now, the another approach of looking into the band diagram is along the x direction. So how does the x direction look like? Again, this is going to be your let us say EC. Okay, so this is your EC is equal to EF. Okay, let me keep it EC. This is EV. Now this is basically your N plus region source. This is N plus region. So now in this case, this is your X in nanometers. Okay, this is along the X direction. Okay, this was the Y direction. Now, what was this channel region? That was P silicon, right? After inversion, it becomes N type, but it's basically P silicon. So if it is P silicon, what it means is this EF, first of all, notice that the EF is going to be very much aligned with EC in the N plus region. So we are essentially drawing this at Y is equal to 0. That means at the surface. Here, whatever we drew was at X. We were drawing this for X L channel. Correct. Think about this. This y direction was true when x was less than 0, greater than 0 and less than LCH, the channel length. So that means inside the channel, we were drawing along the y direction. Okay, so along this direction, and this is 0, this is LCH. Okay, whereas when we are trying to draw the y, so when we are trying to draw the band diagram along x direction at the surface means y equal to 0. Yes or no? Exactly on the channel. Then what is the scenario? This is the EV, and since this is p type, what will happen? This EV is going to be very close to EF, and like that. Okay, so the EC will again go up and come down like that. Okay, so if we are trying to draw the EI, how does EI look like? Somewhere here, goes up, this and this. So this part is basically the P region. So this again, if I draw this here, what is this here? Again, energy in electron volts. So here we are looking into the vertical profile. ठीक है ना? यहाँ पर हम लोग क्या देख रहे हैं? Lateral profile. So let me call it lateral potential profile. Sounds better. Or lateral, okay, lateral energy profile, whichever. That's not important. Okay. So in this lateral profile, if you draw it, so this is very similar to an NPN BJT, correct? So this is fundamentally the same as the NPN BJT. Now, if it is a long channel device, what we understand is this distance is pretty high between the source and the drain regions. Now let us understand what is going to happen. The moment you are, so this is the source region and this is the drain. So this is the effective barrier which the carriers are going to see when they are trying to move from the source to the drain region, correct? Now, if you are applying a voltage here plus VG, what happens? So you are applying a plus VG at the gate terminal here. So what happens? All of us know that if it is a positive potential, this is an energy diagram. So if you are applying a positive potential, energy levels will come down. Because of that, remember, I told you electronic charge is minus Q. This minus is playing the trick over here. So if you're applying the more positive voltage you apply, what happens? This energy level will come down. Okay, so it will essentially lower the energy barrier. Okay, so when does the electrons become free to move? That essentially depends on the VGS should be applied in such a manner the amount of VGS will be equal to VT. So when VGS equal to VT, this barrier is practically lost. Okay, so this is the what we call it as the gate control. This is what we call it as the famous gate control. So whatever potential you are applying on the gate terminal, it will simply lower this barrier such that more and more electrons are able to move from the source to the drain regions. Okay, so when the barrier is completely gone, what will happen? The surface becomes as much n-type as the bulk is p-type, something like that. Okay, now what I am going to tell is very important. So this is for the long channel device because this is very high. Now let us consider the situation like this. Okay, where this part let me, if it is short channel means This is essentially very, very close. Okay, so what will happen here? Instead of this kind of band bending, what will happen is we are keeping the same VG, by the way. Okay, what will change here is that I'm not speaking about changing the VG. The only thing is this barrier will be somewhat like that. That means I have simply pushed this right hand side part, that is a drain, very close to the source. What will happen? As this drain is coming closer, this barrier height will be reduced. Try to think about it. Now, irrespective of the VG, it will be reduced. So in case of the gate control for the larger device, we knew that the only way you can essentially reduce this barrier was applying the VG. But in short channel devices, what we understand is even if you keep the same VG, the same N region is here, there is a drop in the barrier height because of short channel. The distance has reduced. Okay, so this is called the famous drain induced barrier lowering. So the drain is inducing a lowering of this barrier. So whenever we are speaking about this term barrier, barrier is simply the barrier which is seen in the channel region. Okay, so now what we will do is if we want to find the energy, this is energy and this is electron volts. This is the source. This is the channel. And here is the drain. Okay, so initially the barrier was something like this, but this was when you have done even without an application of the drain bias. So as you can see, the conduction band edge in both source and the drain regions are the same. So that means this was valid for VDS equal to 0. Okay, this is also, since ECR both of them are the same aligned, so VDS equal to 0. So somebody said that if you are applying a higher drain bias, only then it will be there. No, it is not correct. Like Dibble is independent of the drain bias. Okay. So in more practical situations, what will happen is you will be applying a drain bias. So this will be your QVDS. Okay. And instead of the first layer, I will draw it like this. Okay. Understand what is happening here. So this is your VS equal to 0. This is QVDS. Okay. So now if we want to shift the drain closer to the source, what will happen? This line will be shifting towards the left side. Correct. So let me use a different color. Okay. So the new curve will be somewhat like that. Then it will start decreasing like this. And finally, if you come even closer, okay. So irrespective of the VDS, so if you notice QVDS remains the same. In this case, for example, in these band diagrams, whatever I have drawn, over here, the VDS is equal to 0 itself in both the cases. So it is independent of the VDS. It's simply got to do with the location or the distance separation between the source and the drain region. So let us say this is L, close to like 45 nanometer. Let us say 10 nanometer only. No, 45 nanometer is better because 10 nanometer will be more 3D architecture, so things become complicated there. So here it is L approximately, let us say 350 nanometer. So this is your X. Got it? So the clear variation or the decrease in the barrier height. So what was the barrier height here? This was the original one. Finally at 45 nanometer, this much. So this decrease is because of drain induced barrier lowering. Okay, everybody. Now I will come to another very much related thing. This is called GIDL. This is the third topic, third short channel effect. Gate induced drain leakage. This is drain induced barrier lowering. So barrier here we are referring to the barrier which is seen on the source channel junction. So this is gate induced drain leakage. Okay, I'll call it GIDL. Fine. So how does it differ from the previous one? Let's understand this. Now this has got to do with the drain biases. So let's say this is grounded, VG, and here we are applying a plus VD. Now what happens is, if it is a large device, okay, then the chances of the overlap is very, very less. But when we are speaking about a short channel device, so when this is essentially scaled to something like this, then almost invariably what will happen is there will be a small overlap region between the drain and the gate terminals. Then what is the result of this? But at the same time, you are still applying the plus VD. Notice that if you are applying a plus VG at this part here, and what is the thickness over here? This is a scale device, so TOX is anyway very small. What will happen is, this is an N plus region, and you are applying a plus VG. Okay, then it is quite probable that the bonds in this N plus region will break. And essentially what will happen, if the bonds will break in this very small region here, then you are going to have a source region like this. Because if the bonds have broken, this will essentially eliminate the holes from here, because bonds are broken means it will always create electron and hole pairs, correct? So these holes will come out and they will try to move more and more towards the bulk. Okay, whereas the electrons which are generated, where will the electrons go? These electrons will essentially be absorbed in this N plus region and finally go to this plus VD terminal inside the N plus region. Okay, so why it is a leakage? You can understand that What do we call it as a leakage? Leakage means which is irrespective of the applied bias if you are creating some carriers. For example, when we say subthreshold leakage, or let us say when there is a tunneling phenomenon going on, it's the same thing over here. It's something similar to avalanching happening, but that happens only whenever you are having an overlap. Okay, so this I can write this invariably LG, that means the gate length is usually greater than L channel length in short channel devices. And uh, gate drain overlap region exists. Got it? So gate induced drain leakage. This gate, now irrespective of this plus VD, please understand this. Previously, DIBL was caused because of the proximity of the drain with the source inside the channel region, irrespective of the VDS value. Here, on the other hand, it essentially depends on the gate bias. So if the gate bias is given like that, so you can understand that you are essentially sort of, doing here, you are basically breaking the bonds in this small region, and essentially you are giving more number of electrons and more number of holes. The holes will essentially divert to the body. However, what will happen to the electrons here? These electrons will be added to the N plus drain, and these electrons will go to the plus VD. So what is the net effect? Remember, the current which you see is essentially is driven by this particular terminal. Yes or no? So you will suddenly find that the current increases because of these electrons. Correct. But these electrons are not generated. They are not these electrons are not coming from source. They are not coming from the inversion region at all. Yes or no? So what will happen? This leads to a very important phenomenon that we will now understand with the help of this DIBL and the GIDL phenomenon. So remember our original uh, diagram of the log ID VGS plot. So this is our log ID. Okay. And what was this? This was VGS. So if this is your VT, if this is your VT, this is 0. What we know is that this is the characteristics. If your channel length reduces, understand this. If your channel length reduces, what happens? You can clearly understand that if channel length reduces, that means your barrier height will decrease. This is the drain dibble. So dibble comes into the picture of the device operation before GIDL. So when dibble comes into the picture, what will happen? Your barrier reduces. So if the barrier reduces or barrier lowers, remember the drain induced barrier lowering. So as the barrier is lowering, what will happen? This entire characteristics will start shifting towards the left. So that means this is called a VT roll off. Okay. We will understand about VT roll off. We will model the VT roll off also, because VT roll off is going to be important for circuit designs. So this is called VT roll off. This is, you can call it as the fourth phenomenon. That is VT lowering due to scaling. So what is the VT roll off? this entire characteristics, no, that will be shifting slowly towards the left side. Okay. So what do we understand? The first phenomenon is, we all understand this very clearly now. Your I off will keep on increasing steadily. Everyone with me until now? So I off is increasing. Now, this increase in the I off happens due to BIBL, drain-induced barrier lowering. Now, the same phenomenon, if we are looking from the VGS side, what is the situation? We will observe that now your VT is somewhere here. Later on, it will be even further reduced. So this is your VT. Previous VT was here. So now we understand is this reduction of VT, when we are looking at the scaling theory, like short channel effect from the VGS axis, this is called VT roll-off. So VT is reducing. If you are looking at the off current, then it is DIBL. Okay. Now, when this essentially becomes very, very close, I mean, when very close means when VT, when it is really very short channel, what will happen? On top of being short channel, if you're applying plus VG and plus VD, which is very high, then this breakdown will happen at these junctions. There will be a sudden increase in the currents. Of course, if the current increase again, it will mean that VT is even further reduced. But what will happen? This increase in the current happens independent of VGS. Yes or no? And that is essentially called as, so the characteristics will now shift like this. Okay. So if we look into this part, from here to there, this is called GIDL. So leakages have started. Leakages means the device is essentially going towards breakdown. Okay. So this is because of GIDL. Fine. And the moment you see that GIDL has begun, that means you cannot think about scaling any further because leakages have started. So what you have to do is you have to think about alternative structures like 3D architecture. Got it? Huh? Now I will come to the fifth important. There are many. The fifth short channel effect. It's called, this is something new. This is called fringe induced barrier lowering. Who can tell me about this? Have you heard about this? Like 1, 2, 3, 4 are probably very simple. I teach this in the BTech level itself. So If you are my BTech students, you would have known until this one. So FIBL becomes slightly difficult. Tell me, yaar. Today I am not going into mathematics. Next class, that is tomorrow, we will go into modeling of not all of them, because all of them are not necessary for as a circuit designer. Only one or two of the short channel effects which are necessary to deal with as a circuit designer, only those topics I will go mathematical. Others I will be simply explaining what is the phenomenon. So fringe induced barrier lowering. Has anyone heard about it? So this part is clear, right? Everybody say yes. If anybody know, then I'll explain this again. DIBL, then GIDL. So the first phenomenon that will start happening. So the premise is that, say you have taken 350 nanometer technology node, and then you are gradually shrinking the size of the channel. Okay. So the first effect that will come into the picture is 2D potential profiling. Second, even you go even further, you will start having DIBL. Okay, like this. So DIBL में क्या होगा? Off current कम ज़्यादा होता जाएगा. So the static power dissipation will go on increasing. And of course, Dibble and VT roll-off happens simultaneously, as you can see over here in this diagram. Now, if you go into the nanometer scale, okay, very, very deep submicron, not even deep, it's like a nano electronics only, okay, 45 nanometer or so, then you will start having this GIDL. Leakages have started. So that is the part. When GIDL has started, then you have to understand that you cannot scale the technology in the planar technology mode. So this is planar. Okay, this is essentially the planar one. Okay, the conventional epitaxial growth. So you have to change this into 3D device. So once GIDL has started. Okay, so after GIDL has started, we have to look into 3D architecture, because you cannot go any further, because if you go, there will be device breakdown at this node, at this point. Okay, so this is avalanching is happening. So basically there will be avalanche breakdown and your device is gone. You cannot shrink it any further. So the only way you can improve it further is basically if you can increase the gate control. I wrote somewhere, yeah, this gate control has to be increased. So how can you increase the gate control? Only by increasing the surface area of the channel region, or the surface area basically. So here the surface area was only under the gate terminal, right? So here we can essentially increase into 3D. So how does this 3D come into the picture? Let me draw a typical 3D structure. Okay, this is your silicon channel. Okay, and this happens to be your SOI region. Okay, this is not SOI. SOI is this one. So this itself is SOI, silicon on insulator. So this I will call it as buried oxide. Okay, now I'm going to put oxide all around. So typically what we use is HFO2. And then we will have a small layer of metal. Okay. Now, whatever we have drawn, this will be extended. And now you are going to make a contact over here, plus VG. Now this is a fin. whenever we are calling about a FinFET, this is just one fin of a FinFET, and this essentially continues. Okay. Now let us understand. This is kind of the situation of a 3D. So how does gate control increase? Notice the gate control is increasing because earlier previously in the this was only the channel, right? Controlled by the gate. Now this is the entire channel is right here. Okay. So the gate control will be increased. So we can even further go on reducing the channel length. So where is the channel length here? This is the channel length. All right. So now what we will do is, so with this 3D architecture, this VT roll-off and all these problems, again, as I said, we will be discussing about the solutions to the short channel effects, right? So 3D architecture is a solution for all these problems, GIDL, DIBL, VT roll-off, all of them will be taken care of. But there'll be a new problem coming into the picture. What is that? If we speak about if we think about the various field profile inside this device, what is going to happen? Let me just erase this so that I can draw here itself. Always remember that the field is always maximum wherever there are any pointed corners. Previously, we were not having any corners. It was a planar structure. So the fields were uniformly distributed. That's why we could get something like this, like flat potential profiles. In this case, what we observe is that if we draw the potential profiles, what will be the situation? There will be higher fields in the corners, right? So the fields at the corners are called the fringes. Okay. So instead of this, I drew green, red, light green, red, green, and pink. So in that same order, green. So the first one will essentially go here. It is not going to be like that. No, because in the corner region, the potentials will be the fringes or the electric field lines will be concentrated more, right? So they will be having like that. Second one will be somewhat like this. Third one, what was the color? Deep green. And finally, the fourth one, pink, purple. This will be how it will appear. So even though you have made the structure like a pointed, nicely looking rectangle, but the actual fringes will be like this. The potential profile will be like this. So what is the situation here? Even though you kind of imagine or you expect that the channels should be perfectly aligned with the surface, it never happens. So what is the situation here? Notice that because of this, if you notice in the 2D potential profile, it was essentially coming down like that. Because of these fringes, so because of these protrusions, this increase in the corners, okay, these fringes will reduce the barrier on these corner ends. So this FIBL is present only in 3D structures, 3D device structures. So this is a modern phenomena. So FIBL was essentially one topic which I was supposed to do a PhD under Professor Ram Gopal Rao in IIT Bombay, like when I joined in 2006. Okay. So this phenomenon, I was supposed to work there, but finally I joined IISc Bangalore for my PhD. So at that point of time, 2006, this FIBL was under huge investigation all over the world. Okay. So this FIBL phenomenon is available only in the 3D devices. Okay. So we have done 5 different short channel effects, the problematic effects. Tomorrow, we are in the tomorrow's lecture, we are going to look into a few others. For example, parasitics. This parasitics will be important for us. Okay. And we will also model latch up. Okay. And we will also model velocity saturation effects. Okay. So that's all for today. I do not want to continue this because this is something new for you. Okay. So tomorrow we will finish off these parts, and then from next week is 30th November onwards, we will begin with new devices and all that. Okay. Any questions, anyone? Since I had to explain the physics, so that's why I did not keep the notes ready. Mostly when I'm doing the math for modeling purposes, there I will write down the equations so that I don't waste time with the equations during the class hours. Okay. So that's all for today. Thank you for joining.